Hi people, this week with Mike Evans, Casey Pine, Brad Lyons and Mathew Seeto, we've got a really great afternoon for SpyCurious. We'll be back in 30 seconds. I get that up completely. It's been a busy day. How are you, Casey Pine?
I'm amazing, thank you.
You've had a very busy week once again.
Oh, always, it's just non-stop.
Okay, I've got to get straight into it today. We've got Brad Lyons coming in, we've got Mathew Seeto coming in, and I've got to get straight into our positions vacant people because we've got a lot to cover. So just quickly, our positions vacant for this week. Morris Kerrigan down in Melbourne are seeking factual investigators and surveillance investigators. People get on board with Kerrigan's. MJM are looking for general insurance video interviewers all around the country. So wherever you're licensed, where you live, MJM would really like to hear from you. So great opportunity coming out of COVID-19 if you're licensed to work with MJM. This is a great opportunity. Went up on LinkedIn this week. You will be working here for the first ever, g'day Renee, how are you going? The first ever private investigation agency in the world at Pinkertons. Pinkertons are a great team with Adam and Thea down in Melbourne. If you're licensed and you're a factual investigator, get in touch with Pinkertons. We had a graduate student, g'day Evan, how you going mate? Great to see you, hope you're well in America there buddy. Pinkertons had a student of ours, a graduate student of ours, apply for a job on Thursday there, and I think she's being interviewed today. So if you are looking for work in Melbourne, get onto Pinkertons. They are interviewing for workers' compensation factual investigators. APSG down in Melbourne, Victoria, after licensed factual investigators, they want 2 of them. Pinkertons are seeking 3, APSG want 2. Their contact details are there. So I'm going too fast for you to keep up with it. You can replay this video after it's finished at 2:40 today. So just hit replay and you'll be able to see the contact details for Pinkertons, Kerrigan's, MJM and for APSG there. Here's a great opportunity down in Victoria. Wise Workplace are seeking factual investigators. If you've got an HR background or an IR background, industrial relations, human resources, you're a licensed investigator, they've got work in bullying, harassment, racial discrimination, code of conduct investigations down in Melbourne for you. Great team at Wise Workplace. Surveillance investigator for Verifact is required in South Australia, and they're looking for one in Perth, Western Australia as well. I'm a little bit out of date there. There's general insurance assessors are required down in Melbourne by Brookside. Brookside are after general insurance investigators in Victoria. General insurance, you're going to be doing stolen motor vehicle investigation, home and contents, public liability investigations, all sorts of really interesting investigations. Stolen motor vehicles are great because there's a lot of fraud in that, and you'll have a great time doing that as an investigator in Victoria. APSG have already done that, put it up twice. This one came up today. If you're into your surveillance and you want to work for the government, they're chasing physical surveillance operatives all around the country, Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne and Perth, and they'll pay you $125,000 a year just to have a lot of fun doing surveillance. And you get paid for that. It's great fun. Recommend it. Factual investigators are required at Wollongong in the Hunter, Newcastle, Maitland, Illawarra and South Coast by the ProCare Group. Hi everybody at ProCare, great to see you. Thanks for sending through these ads. Australia-wide investigations after a factual investigator over in Perth. So g'day Gloria, how are you going? Good to see you. This is a beauty people. In Hobart, Launceston and in Melbourne, GHA are seeking factual investigators for liability work. Now, liability work is interesting work in relation, you just don't know what you're going to be doing. So it's really interesting. It's very widespread work, very well-paying work, and at GHA, they're a great team. I was just talking to them 5 minutes before we came on the program live today. So great opportunity there at GHA for an investigator in Hobart or Launceston and one in Melbourne too. Hi, everyone at GHA. I know you're watching Factual Investigator in Melbourne for Global Private Investigators Limited. They've been around for 32 years, so get in touch with them. You want to see where these jobs are, you go to this Facebook page, type in Australian Private Investigator, Corporate and Government Investigation Jobs, and you will see all those jobs there on this Facebook page. Now, I went too fast for you, hit replay after it, or Sunday afternoon, watch it again there, and you can write down the context. Kylie King at Quantum Corp is after surveillance investigators. Now, Quantum Corp are employing surveillance investigators with a great attitude. The old days of the crusty old surveillance investigator going, all Chinese people here in Richmond and there's a block of flats, how am I supposed to do? Those days are gone. We have can-do people now, are highly trained and want to do the work and are really excited about it. They've done courses in how to search people, how to identify people. They're young, they're enthusiastic, and they get results, and they don't give people in the office a hard time. So get on board with Kylie down at Quantum Corp. I've been had interactions with Quantum Corp over the last 20 years. Great team, very professional team. And last one for this week, General Insurance Factual Investigators, again for MJM. So people, that's my jobs for this week. And coming up later on, we're going to have a look at some of the effects of COVID-19 in relation to what's been happening. But it's now my very great pleasure to introduce Casey, who's going to interview our very special guest for us. Go, Casey.
Okay. So today I have Brad Lyons here. He is from Think EDU, and that is a platform which teaches you OSINT, skip tracing, and cyber investigation. So I'm very excited for this interview because if you know me, if you watch me in any of these shows, you know that I absolutely love this topic. And to have someone here who lives and breathes it and is a bit of a techie like me, it's really exciting. So welcome, Brad. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. It's great to be here.
Awesome. So Brad, can you give us a bit of your background, please?
Yeah, sure. So data nerd is probably the main thing that got me in this side of the work. So started off playing with a little bit of data and debt collection, and then progressed a little bit more into data science, building predictive crime models and citizen scoring and things like that, and predictive skip tracing. And that led me more into investigations and developing open source intelligence tools and applications. And it's just snowball effect from there, basically.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing this for?
Good question. 14 years.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome.
Maybe more now, actually, yeah. I think I might be saying 14 years for a long time now, so it might be time to update.
Yeah. Okay. So for the people watching, everybody kind of hears the term thrown around, skip tracing. Even investigators, they're not 100% sure what it is, what it involves. Can you explain what it is for us?
Yeah, sure. So skip tracing is the art of locating people or assets. So like any investigation, you've got to obtain evidence and collect that evidence and build the puzzle together. Whereas with skip tracing, you're doing the same thing, but the end objective is not finding out who committed an offence. It's finding the person already. So you already know the individual you're after or an asset that you're after and determining their current location.
Yeah. And how has skip tracing really evolved over the years?
With technology, a lot. It's evolved and it's sort of unevolved as well at the same time, because with databases nowadays, there's a lot of people out there that think they're doing skip tracing when all they're doing is checking a paid database, and that's admin work. Definitely a part of skip tracing, but that's by no means full skip tracing. But with that technology, it has progressed a lot, and with open source intelligence expanding a lot more with online, great enhancements at the moment. There's lots of data out there, lots of technology you can use, but you still need good old human intelligence techniques as well. It's definitely an area that searching online, it's like OSINT or OSINT. A lot of people think of OSINT or OSINT and they'll think of searching Google and social media. That's a very tiny part of OSINT. And it's the same as skip tracing or investigations. That's just a very small part of it, all the skills that you need.
Yeah. And it's not just any investigator that can do skip tracing, is it? Usually, like, it's a really defined niche that takes a lot of quite like training, and it's hard work and just constantly trying to do it. So, because I know I hear a few investigators around the place who say, oh yeah, I can do that, and it's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, and we see those files. We'll see those files come through that have been outsourced before, and yeah, look, it is very interesting work. I love it. It is very addictive work. It's the thrill of the chase at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And look, some cases you could close in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Some cases might take you half an hour, and some may take a little bit longer. But that's relative to the payment that you're receiving for the case. But it's definitely not for everyone. But if you're interested in intelligence work, basically, and hunting people, it's fun.
Yeah. And how do you become a skip tracer?
By not being arrested for stalking is probably a good one. Or as my wife says, it's not stalking, it's keeping current. So skip tracing, well, I teach skip tracing. I was in skip tracing and cyber investigations. Having a passion is really the best entry into anything. If you have a passion for something, it's going to go a lot faster. It's going to be a lot easier for you, and you'll be more successful at it. If you're doing it because you can see there's money in it and you just want to make money, you're not going to be very passionate about it. You're doing it for the wrong reasons. So my advice would be learn the art of the tools that you have. And there's lots of other areas to learn. So it's not just using a paid database or using Google or anything like that. It's social engineering so human intelligence, social engineering is extremely important. And social engineering it's not about lying. It's not about pretexting someone. That's a small part of social engineering. Image analysis, so imint, geoint, humint, finint, all the ints basically you need to learn, because if you know them all, it's a faster job.
Yeah.
We locate people sometimes because there's no information out there, but we find a photo, and it could be them taking a selfie in a bathroom. Most investigators will look at it and say, you haven't got a hope in locating him. It takes less than a minute. Sometimes we use it by profiling people. So again, there's not much information on paid databases out there or on social media. So we profile them. We build a profile on the person, and that's how we find their new location.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And do you have any interesting skip tracing jobs or things that you've been through that you can talk about?
Yeah, we get the weird one. There's one that I like telling people about. I explain it in the course as well because it's very cliche, but it explains the power of Google if you're using it properly. I had a guy in Vegas reach out to me, and he said he met a girl in Vegas, and he did get her phone number, but he lost it, and he wanted to get back in contact with her. So I'll make up fake names, but all he knew was her name, her best friend's name, that she had a 21st birthday party in Vegas, and she lived in New South Wales. While I had that person on the phone explaining these things, I did a Google search, and 30 seconds, I found her location. Wasn't very difficult at all, because he gave me all the information I need to hear to make that query. I didn't give him the information. I contacted her on Facebook and explained the situation, and it wasn't a happy ending. She wanted nothing to do with him. But that's the power of social media and doing the right queries in Google. Sorry, my phones and all my devices are going off because I've said the magical word of Google. But it also explains privacy as well. You do get requests from the general public. You can't always comply with those. It would be a massive breach of privacy if I was to pass that lady's information over to him. This is not something that you do in every case.
No. Yeah, that's something that you definitely come across as people looking for other people for the wrong reasons, and you really have to sort through that, I find. So and make sure that they have the right intentions, because you want to use your powers for good, so to speak. So yeah, that's amazing, Brad. Thank you so much. I think we might be out of time now. Mike, how are we going?
Oh, we'll have to jump in. Sorry. Brad, I'll bring you back in a second, okay?
Yep, sure.
Okay, people, just got to show an interview we did earlier in the week. This is an opportunity to see about what's happened in the workers' comp space with investigations and what they've learned over that time. So this is a 9-minute interview. If you're in a workplace that has interests, such as a church or a aged care facility, childcare facility, a government department that does investigations or something like that, this opportunity is going to be relevant to you. But first, we've got to meet the guy who's doing it, and here he is. And we are very privileged today to have the General Manager of Surefact, Mathew Seeto, joining us. Mathew's joining us to tell us about a new initiative they got over at Surefact in relation to COVID-19. But before he does that, Mathew, can you tell us all about yourself, please?
Sure, Mike, and thanks for having me today. A bit about my background. As you know, I'm the General Manager. I look after the customer experience here at Surefact. So what that entails is looking after our clients, our customers, and all of the products that we have. So basically, if you have any solutions that you need, I'm the person that you'll be able to talk to. I also lead a team of business development managers and also our innovation and improvement section. So in that space, we're coming up with new ways to assist our clients and develop and produce the best quality services we can. My background, I come from a line of workers' compensation. I've worked in very multiple different companies, actually. So mainly in a self-insurance space. I've worked for companies such as the New South Wales Police Force. I've managed their workers' compensation portfolio. I've worked at Wesfarmers in a reporting and compliance role. I've worked at Westpac leading their workers' compensation team in New South Wales, ACT, and the Asia Pacific. And then I've worked for a rehabilitation company in the same sort of role that I'm doing now. So looking after their insurance and corporate clients. In that time, I've developed different strategies, processes, and services for our clients. I understand the industry, and also not just in the workers' compensation space. I do work in life insurance, corporate work, and large government organisations. Professionally and from my educational point of view, I have a bachelor's degree in business, majoring in HR and IR. So I have a very strong foundation in that space, and also have a master's degree in work health and safety.
Fantastic. Mathew,
background.
That's a really varied and very relevant background to what you've come to talk to us about today. So can you tell us what the initiative is you've got at Surefact that caught my attention on LinkedIn yesterday, because everybody's going to be interested in this?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously the hottest topic at the moment is COVID-19 and what's happening in that space. Obviously, with the various states around the country, we're all mandating or we're trying to get vaccination rates up. Some organisations are mandating vaccinations, and obviously there's public health orders as well. So coupling all that information together, we've seen some related claims or investigations that have been needed in respects to COVID-19. And that's encompassing a lot of different industries, including, you've got airlines, you've got health, you've got early childhood education. Basically, any of those areas where COVID-19 claims and issues are arising in the workplace. It's becoming more and more diverse. What we're doing here at Surefact is collating all of our experience in these investigations, improving each time that we get a claim, the questions that we ask to try and understand the situations behind it, and then presenting what we're finding to various different organizations so they know or can try and get an understanding of what to expect with COVID-19 in the workplace. So quite a few things in that space there.
So if I'm a aged care facility or a school or a church and I'm interested in awareness of what's going on, I get in contact with you and you would come and present that to me, or you send a document? How does it work?
Yeah, so pretty much any industry, but yeah, like you said, they're the ones that are facing it the most at the moment. There's been some public health orders, especially here in New South Wales, mandating vaccinations be required of the workers. But what we're doing is I have a presentation here that goes for about 15 minutes and then allows for question times afterwards. And I can do that. I can come to your office. Obviously, myself, I'm double vaccinated, so I can get out there and come and see you. Or we've got our Microsoft Teams or Zoom or whatever might be the easiest way to deliver it to you and your team. What I do is I come out, or via Teams, I present this to you and your team. We go through the questions, and then I'm able to send across a copy of the presentation once we're concluded.
Fantastic. Is there a cost associated with that, Mathew?
There's no cost at all. What we're trying to do is just improve people's knowledge in the area, giving them an understanding of what's been happening. From Surefact's perspective, what we want to do is equip our clients and also those that are working with this virus with as much information as we possibly can. We just feel that more knowledge in the industry will assist all the different organisations out there battling and working in the forefront in this space.
So you're sharing that experience, and you might look at a case study or two and just talk to people what might be relevant to them in relation to that?
That's correct. So once someone gets in touch with us, depending on what area, then I look at the claims or the cases that we've investigated, and I use different case studies that are applicable to their particular industry. So what I do is I give an oversight of what we've been seeing as a whole from investigations, and that's not in any particular state, that's right across the country, and different jurisdictions if you are in the workers' compensation space. And then I give some examples of what's been happening in their particular industry as well from what we've seen. The information within the presentation is a combination of legal advice that Surefact has obtained, on the ground information that we've been able to find from investigations, but also with my background and experience, I have a lot of contacts in the industry, especially in that legal space and the technical space within the insurance companies, and we've all been knowledge sharing across. So I'll take all that information and we put it into the presentation itself. Other than that, it has been growing. So every time that we get a new claim or there's more information that comes to light, like the virus itself, there's been more and more things being learnt along the way. It is relatively new. We update that presentation as well. So if there's anything that's outside of that presentation and I've already presented it to a client, I'll send them any updates that I might have as well and some things that we've seen. So I keep them in the loop where we get that information as well.
I think it's a great initiative, and it's a credit to your organisation and yourself, Mathew, that you're sharing that contemporary, relatable, workplace applicable information for the safety of people's staff and their interactions moving forward. A really great pleasure to have you in today, Mathew. When I asked Mathew to join us, ladies and gentlemen, he jumped at the opportunity. He said, I'd really be happy to help. He's one of the nicest people in the industry. His contact details are right there. If you would like to hear Mathew's presentation as a workplace, all right, get a group of people together, because he can't do it for every single person. But as a workplace, whether you're a school, church, transport industry, airlines, factory, it's unlimited. You might be a police service. We get a lot of police watch this program. You'll be very interested in hearing the experience of the application of what's happened from Mathew himself. And I'm sure he'll be able to arrange a time to do that with you, and you'll be much richer for the experience. Thanks for coming in today, Mathew. I really enjoyed having you in.
Thanks, Mike, and thank you again for having me.
Okay, that was Mathew Seeto with the new initiative from Surefact. And I'm going to bring Brad back because I've got a couple of questions. I'm going to hit Brad with questions without notice. Hi, Brad. I'm going to spring these ones on you. Mate, when's your next
Thanks for the heads up.
That's all right. When's your next course start?
Well, the courses are online and live one-on-one sessions, so it's starting any time, basically. So, yeah, so we've got the online training portal there for students to be able to complete the online parts, just to give them the basic understanding of what they're about to go through. And then once they've completed a certain amount of modules, we then do a live one-on-one live session where it's more coaching and we go into the advanced stuff.
Fantastic.
So start any time, yeah.
All right. So they can just get in contact with you through this website and inquire through that. Okay. Far as the future goes, what developments can we look forward to in your field in the future that might be coming that you've seen on the radar?
Yeah, there's some fun stuff. I'd like to say DNA because I've got quite an interest in DNA at the moment, but I don't know how I'm going to collect all that information, let alone use it to locate someone. But look, there's a lot of really, I think the biggest issue is going to be identify disinformation with deep fake videos and things like that. It's really going to be hard to identify what is true and correct information that you're obtaining, and that's just not from a skip trace point of view. I mean, we do cryptocurrency, cyber investigations, and criminal investigations. So trying to identify what's real and what's not is going to be really difficult. When it comes to locating people, yeah, I think it's all up in the air because new law changes that are coming out where they're trying to align the Australian privacy in line with the European privacy. So a person's image could be considered personal information. So that's going to combat scraping image data and then using that image data to identify an individual. So it's hard to say at the moment because we don't know which way legislation is going to go, what's going to go through. But definitely more information or new ways to combine multiple data sets are always being looked at the moment.
That's great. You really got your finger on the pulse in relation to that. And as it changes, of course, you'll update your course as that goes. But it's great to see. The great thing I like about yourself, Mathew, Seeto, who we've just seen, other people we've had on the program, Pat Henderson and Rob Morton, is they push the boundaries of what they're doing and take it to the next level. They're always looking for that additional complementary business addition, and they grow people, they assist people. Their success comes from their, the people they assist success. For example, Pat Henderson went into drones and stuff like that, and now it's a whole arm of their business. Now, with you've got all those different lines of work you're doing, and you're doing them every day. And that's the benefit of the person that does the course. You're not a professor that's remote from it from 30 years ago. You're hot out of action, and that's the benefit of the person coming to you to do that course with their full knowledge that you've got on your radar what's happening in the future. So that's absolutely fantastic. The other thing I've had a couple of inquiries about today, people. I've really got to cover it quickly. There's some tenders out. There's some big tenders out, post-COVID tenders that are coming up for investigations. If you are an Australian Security Academy graduate student, or you are studying at the Australian Security Academy, you are an automatic free member of this industry association. It's registered. It's real. It has meetings on the first Monday of every month. It's growing in membership, and it's really being adopted by the industry, both people that are emerging, such as people studying and new entry people into the industry, but people that have been established in the industry for a long time. Last week, we had our first Friday of the month meeting just before this program, and we did a survey of our members and asked them for ideas. And boy, if Casey and I got a lot of work to do in the next 2 weeks. Well, Casey has.
Great.
Well, we've got some great ideas. I mean, if you want ideas, you ask the people that are doing it. It's like, that's what happens. You don't pretend you know it all yourself. So if you are not, if you're a graduate student, you haven't got your electronic badge for your membership, get in touch with Casey or me, and we'll arrange your badge so you can put it on LinkedIn, put it on Facebook, put it on your social profile, wherever you want it, and you'll be an automatically free member of that industry association. Now, it has different levels. It has members, it has life members, it has a whole range of things. That depends on your commitment, what you want to put into it. Industry associations are not for everybody, but just like you saw Mathew there with his hot out of action update on what's happening with COVID-19 and all that sort of thing, it's young, it's fresh. it's real and it is applicable to the industry. It's not a bunch of old guys standing around singing the national anthem and having a beer at lunchtime. It's you know, growing people into it and getting some involvement in it. And every Friday, every first Friday of every month, you're welcome to come along and join that. So some people will join it, other people have no interest. I fully get that, And I'm a member of 4 different industry associations. I get a lot out of it. I like to network, but I am a busy person. But there is some benefit in industry associations for individuals. So those tenders, you'll start to see them coming out now. One's already hit. Make sure you're a member of an industry association. That helps the employer to win that tender. Not just your qualifications and your learning and your you know, certificates you've gained, but the membership of an association that has rules that are adhered to by the association and applied by the association is very important. Just this week, I had to do a consultation for a government department, and they contacted me through an industry association. They saw I was listed there, they looked at my profile, and I'll get future work out of that in maybe a year's time or whatever, it doesn't matter. But it came through an industry association. So there's good value in being a member of those sorts of things. With Airlap, Casey, if they get in touch with you, you just send them out that badge. Is that correct? What happens?
Yep, that's it. So if you email me at casey@australiansecurityacademy.edu.au, and I will, just send it straight out to you. It comes through, we use a site called Badger. So if you haven't seen it, check your spam or just let me know again. So it's one of those things, sometimes they get lost.
Yeah, because things do go into spam because there's links in emails now, they automatically get junked. So you must be wary of that. People, I've missed out a bit of news because Brad was so interesting, and I need just to clarify those 2 things that I wanted to know selfishly, and Brad got those questions without notice. Here's Brad's website to contact him about what he does in his world. It's highly recommended. A lot of people have done it that I network with, and they've all enjoyed it. And so get in touch with that. But people, that's our program for today. I won't go into some of the news things. We'll do those again next week. As always, we always end with the same thing. So we'll go out with this.
작전 종료. 전원 복귀할 것.
Yes, that's how every investigation agency in Australia, in fact the world, ends their week with all units returning home. Great movie if ever you get a chance to watch it. It's called Cold Eyes. It's Korean, comes with subtitles, and boy, have they got some really interesting private investigator hints in that movie. We've featured a couple of them on this program. Thanks for watching, people. It's goodbye from me, and I'm sure Casey and Brad will say goodbye too.
Yeah.
Goodbye, take care.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming in.